Hey, everybody. On this episode of Samp&Chance, we will take a walk back to Tuesday and look at the fight between Inoue and Stephen Fulton, number one of the super fight week. After that, we will break down Crawford versus Spence or Spence versus Crawford, depending how you want to look at it. Guys, here we go. Samp&Chance, strap in, and thank you for letting us into your ears. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Samp&Chance. And guess who I found? Our host, our co-host, Mr. Chance Michaels. Chance, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Not bad at all, man. We've kind of missed you in action. We've had a couple guests come by the house. You
Big
weren't
guest
around.
too. Good
Yeah, yeah,
interviews. Yeah, it was
they were
good.
great. They were great.
Yeah,
Thank you very
I
much
enjoyed
to
it.
the Canadian crippler Cody Crowley and to the Mountie. It was an all Canadian affair this week, man. Two great interviews, two great people.
Yeah,
Very generous with their time and with their knowledge. It was just a really good time. But
yeah,
guess what,
absolutely.
man? We are here. It is super fight week. I mean, how many times can we say super fight week? Tuesday. Let's go to Tuesday. Japan. Inoue versus Stephen Fulton. We didn't get a chance to really preview the fight or make our predictions. So I won't ask you who you thought was going to win because it's kind of indifferent now. But I
Yeah,
will ask you your thoughts on the fight.
man, what a fight. Fulton's a tough guy, man. He took some big shots, and he lasted 8 rounds, and I was surprised it lasted that long. It was a good fight. And it was a monster. They call him the monster. He's a little guy, 122 pounds, but probably pound for pound the hardest hitter in all of boxing, I'd say. Maybe Wilder, but if
Um,
you're going pound for pound, I'd say
I,
nobody hits
I
harder than him.
well, here's the thing, man. Like I wasn't surprised with the outcome. I wouldn't have been surprised with the outcome if it went the other way. Either guy winning this fight wouldn't have been a surprise, right? To be fair,
No, it's true.
based on what we know of each guys. I mean, the boxing fundamentals of Fulton versus the power of Inoue. But what Inoue showed us, I thought, was that he can box too. So he
Oh,
can
yeah.
box and he has power, but we've never really seen it too much, right? We saw that a little bit against Donaire when he broke his orbital bone and
Yeah.
everything and whatnot. But for the most part, I just felt that from the first round on, right to that knockout or TKO,
Yeah.
Fulton showed him respect right from the bell, and he just let Inoue have his way with him.
I
And
think once
that's
he felt some of that power, he's like, oh,
but that's what surprised me. That's what left me with my mouth open at the end of that fight was the fact that he was in range. He was in range
yeah,
for most of that fight. There was no excuses. The guy just didn't throw. And if you notice now, like I went back and I watched it the second time, right from the opening bell, Inoue was throwing that jab to the stomach continuously,
oh
right?
yeah, he was
Like
winded, dude. He's feeling that.
he was continuously throwing that, and it hurts. It obviously hurts, but I mean, just the mind of Inoue, like he keeps throwing it, just setting up that right hand the whole fight for that one moment, and that's what it basically took, right? Fulton, I don't hang your head, man, but I have to question, was he a deer in headlights at that moment? Because, like I said, he got nothing going on. I believe after 4 rounds, I could be wrong. I'm just going off the top of my head. He only threw like six, you know, body punches or
Yeah, I
anything.
think he was gun shy after feeling some of those heavy punches. It just totally changed his game plan. He got timid. He was winded. He's like, oh my god, this guy is the monster. It
Yeah,
backed him
yeah,
up, and
and that's
the
what
rest was
surprised me
history.
because I figure, with Fulton's pedigree, with the background that he's coming into this fight, everything, it just that's not the outcome I expected. I expected a bit more like fighting from the outside, a little bit more from that perspective. But he was in range. He had the opportunities. He what maybe two or three punches you can count off my hand that I can call that yeah were good punches by him.
So yeah, I know it was a domination. It
Right?
was
I
just a
mean
brilliant performance, and he's
he
gonna stay at 122 in no way and fight one more time at 122. He said today or yesterday, I believe.
Well, I mean, what happened was at the end of the fight, and because it went straight into the state of boxing, and they never really mentioned who this other fellow was. He came into the ring with his belts. I think he's Japanese, but he's
Yeah, he
Asian,
is.
right? Um, So I don't know what that is, if they're setting that up for something else. The other thing that I took away from this, which I thought was really interesting, and again, it just goes into the cultures here we're talking about here, right? Take nothing away from Fulton and American culture, please. Our American fans, please don't read this the wrong way. But I found it hilarious throughout the whole build up to this fight. The thing that they were focused on was the tape on his hands, was this, was that. Like, they were trying to find
Bolton was saying we might back out of the fight if his
well,
hands
that's the
aren't
thing.
wrapped to it, you know?
Well, that's the thing. So I mean, right there, you're showing fear, in my opinion. Like, who
Yeah.
cares how his hands are wrapped? You're the best in the world, bro. Right? You know what I mean? In my opinion, that shouldn't even be a thing. Now, you have Fulton being that way, but here's what I thought was hilarious. At the end of the fight, when Inoue gave his speech, he apologized to the crowd. He apologized to the crowd because of an injury, this fight was postponed, and he apologized to the fans for the postponement of the fight.
That's the Asian culture. Ichiro, Manny Pacquiao,
Yeah.
these guys are some of the best at what they do, but they're the most humble. You never know it. They're always thanking the fans. They're always apologizing. They're never cocky. They're not swearing like the Americans or the English do.
Well, it's funny. You look at
Completely different culture.
and Donaire's fighting this weekend too, right?
Yeah, he's on the undercard.
He's on the undercard as well. Yeah, he's fighting for a title there as well. I remember him when he was the fight before Inoue he was fighting against another Filipino fighter. Unfortunately, there was no translator there, right? So this other guy, he was fighting his opponent. He didn't know English, so Donaire was actually acting as his translator at the same time.
I know, that was funny.
Right, so the guy's asking him like, so what are you gonna do? He's so Donaire's translating. So I'm gonna punch him in the face. I'm gonna do this. I'm like amazing. Vast difference in cultures, vast difference in every aspect of it. I mean, let's go to the World Cup. I mean, the Japanese fans, after their team plays, they stay behind and clean up the stands.
They're first class. They're first class people all the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Not the culture that we're used to out here in North America. It's completely different.
No, and it's
we yell, we swear, we throw our garbage down, we leave it. It's unreal what we do compared to how they act, actually.
Well, I mean, just on every aspect, you see what happens in Asia when a fire truck comes and how everything is so organized. You see within merging lanes and how people work, like, they use the proper techniques here. I don't know. Anyways, let's move on. We
totally right.
Carried away with that.
Totally all right. It was. I figured my original prediction was Inoue in 11, but he did it in 8, and I wasn't shocked. I think everybody knew he was going to win. 95% of the people were, he's a beast. 30 years old, so he's still in his prime. We have another fight at 122 pounds. The challenge for Top Rank and Bob Arum is he's a star over there. He's no one here, but bring him to the masses. He's got to come over here to North America or England and have some big fights so we can get more exposure for him because he deserves it.
No, 100%. But the other thing is he has to be willing to leave too.
That too.
Right? So,
for the right price, he will.
Yeah, but he has to. I mean, look, I'm not going to take anything away from his skill, this and that. I don't think his skills will diminish if he fights in America, if he fights in Europe or anything like that. It's just he needs to do that for his legacy. I think he's already cemented himself as a boxer, as a brawler, as a hard puncher. But in terms of his legacy, he needs to leave Japan. He needs to leave the island and show the people what he can do.
I think he's got to come and have at least 1 or 2 fights in Vegas, the Mecca.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He has to.
The bright lights are on you.
He has to leave the comfort of home and his routine and show that he can do it. Right. That's probably the only thing I'll knock on him, that he hasn't left Japan.
He will though. Bob Money Talk. They'll get him over here.
Well,
maybe not next fight, but he will.
I'll leave you with this before we move on. What would you say if Lomo were to move? And I think he could. Lomo to move down to like 126 or something, and have those two go at it.
They can meet at 130 maybe at a catchweight.
Yeah, at a catchweight or something. I mean, come on, that'd be an amazing fight. Right?
That's a fight I'd want to be in the crowd for.
Oh, absolutely. All right, let's speak about the fight that we're not going to be in the crowd for, though. Unfortunately, we're going to be comfortably watching it at our homes or together. We'll figure all that out on our end.
Yep.
But guys, here we are, part 2 of Super Fight Week. We have Errol Spence Jr. versus Terence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight title of the world. 147 is up for grabs, and since Zab Judah in 2005, he's the closest that's come to this, or becoming undisputed. Or did he become undisputed in 2005?
He didn't.
No, he didn't. Okay, but he was being the closest to having all the belts together.
Yeah,
apparently. All right, so here we go. Spence 28-0 with 22 KOs. Terence Crawford 39-0 with 30 KOs. Both guys, man. What can you say?
It's
I'm
beautiful
still
that they're both undefeated and just for all the belts at 147. It doesn't get much better than that.
no, it doesn't. This is huge. I mean, as not for the casual fan, not for everything else, but just as a boxing fan, this is monster. This is the fight we've been waiting for. I remember us talking on the podcast. You didn't believe it, and you were right, but I was still holding out hope for November last year. But here we are. Beautiful
They
Las
made it, man. A little
Vegas
bit late,
T-Mobile.
35 and 33, but it's better late than never. That's
No,
what
you
I
know
say.
what? I think actually, in my opinion, I think this is the best time. I mean, to be fair, I mean, both guys have only gotten better as their careers have progressed. They both look better. So I don't have a problem with it. Maybe 2 years ago, perhaps, but I'm okay with
I stand corrected.
fight.
Judah was undisputed champion for
He,
one fight.
okay, so
I
he
was wrong
was
with that.
undisputed. So since
Yeah.
Zab Judah, this is the
And
first
then
time,
one of
right?
these guys.
And then one of these guys. So that just shows you how
18
crazy that
years later.
division. Shows you how crazy that division is.
Not even Pacquiao, Floyd, or De La Hoya did it.
No, but politics also plays a big role. The networks and the promoters play a
Oh,
role.
that's the thing,
Screwing it
yeah.
up, right? But overall, throughout the histories of time and through the annals of time, the welterweight division has picked up a lot of the slack where the heavyweights and the others have dropped it.
Yep. This
Right?
fight's getting a little bit more steam. I was listening to the Jim Rome show this morning, yesterday morning, and Bud was on there. And, so people, they're coming on some of the mainstream shows. They've been on First Take about a month ago. So it's picking up a little bit of steam. I don't think as much steam as it should have. The problem is Bud and Spence don't really have captivating personalities. They're kind of boring. They're amazing fighters, but they're not really showmen. That's hurting this fight a bit, but they still should get about 1 million buys, 900,000. Still a big fight.
Well, both guys are going to walk away with 8 figures, guaranteed.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
We don't know what the number is exactly, but we know it's 8 figures. That's not including points on pay-per-view. So, God, these guys could walk out with maybe close to 9 at the end of it all when it's all said and done. There is a 30-day window for a rematch clause for the loser.
If it's an exciting
of this fight.
We will see that.
Yeah. If it's an exciting fight, right? Okay, look, I didn't know who to pick, to be honest, right? I still don't. I mean, I have.
It's like 55, 45, almost 50, 50. According to Vegas, before we give our predictions,
yeah,
the sharps in the world have Terence Crawford as a slight favorite at minus 155, which means you got to put $155 down. You win 100. If you put 100 on Errol Spence, you win 125 back. He's a slight underdog at plus 125, but basically Vegas is saying it's 55-45.
Right.
Favoring Crawford by a bit.
Yeah, and
Vegas has this fight to go the distance at minus 200. So the sharps are saying this will be a decision for whoever, but it's going to go 12 rounds. Nobody's going down. That's what they're saying.
Fair enough, man.
We'll see.
Enough. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. All right. So here's what I did, Chance. I don't know. We haven't really had the chance to talk about this outside of where we are right now, right? So, I thought about this over the week. I'm like, okay, we got to do the show. Who do we gonna pick? How do we look at this fight, right? So I thought about it, and I thought, okay, who have they both fought? Who's the best guy that both of them fought? And that's taking nothing away from anyone, right? That either one have ever fought. But I was looking for the particular guy that I could use as a stick. I thought about Kell Brook at first.
Yeah, he's a solid fighter.
No, he's a solid fighter. But here's the thing. When he fought Errol Spence, he was winning a lot of that fight.
He was, yeah. He's a good fighter.
And then he got caught. Okay? But keep in mind that when he fought Crawford, he'd already went through a war with Triple G.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Right?
Took a beating.
And then after that, went straight to Crawford, or went to Errol Spence, so to speak, right? Crawford got him all beat up, to be fair. Okay, so I said that's not a fair comparison considering what Brook went through to get to Crawford.
Yeah.
So I looked at Sean Porter.
Showtime. Yeah.
Right? Showtime himself, right? He fought both of them.
And he fought him good, too.
And he was winning both fights.
Yeah.
And in both instances, it was a slip up on his part that cost him the fight, right?
Yeah.
Like I think the fight with Errol should have been a draw, but that shot that he caught him with at the end almost there is what probably turned the judge's opinion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. Again,
Spence fought Ugos too, beat him.
Right. Yeah, he did. Right. But I just tried to look at the one guy they both fought.
Yeah, Sean Porter.
Right. Which was equal in terms of Sean came into that fight at the same with both of him. Right.
Yeah, basically just Porter and Kell Brook.
Yeah. Right. So Porter basically, was winning both those fights, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And again, it was just a slight mix up and a slight mistake on his part, a slip up on his part, mental, that cost him those fights. And
that's how good those guys are. One mistake and
that's the thing. That's what makes this fight so interesting. So here's where I'm gonna go with here, right? Like I look at Errol Spence. The keys to his victory, in my opinion, is he doesn't yield. He doesn't step down. He keeps coming forward. He won't back down. That's his thing, right? So no matter how much pressure, we saw this in the Spence fight, no matter how much, Sean was hitting him and coming at him and making it harder for him, you had him not giving up. Spence was not giving up anything, right? So I think that's one of the keys for Spence here is that fact that he never backs down. Now, for me, Crawford, one of the keys to his success would probably have to be the fact that he can level change at any time. He can make adjustments on the fly as he goes. But that being said, for both these guys, they've never faced anyone quite like each other before. Will those attributes actually play a role? Will they actually work for them? So that's what makes it so hard, man. Both have the will to win, right? Both don't do check-ins. They're not check-in type of guys, right? So I mean, this is fucking hard.
What's your prediction going to be? You got to pick somebody. Who you got?
Okay. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, here's how I'm looking at it. The first round is just like any first round, it's going to be a feel-out round, right? I think this fight starts in the third round. This is when it's going to start to open up. I think I think with his ability to switch it, with his inside and outside abilities, with his ability to change the flow, to make adjustments on the fly, I'm going with the slight edge to Bud. Only for the reason being, and I'm not calling it a knockout. I'm going to stick with Vegas and say this is going to 12 rounds. If it's a knockout, that's a great surprise for everybody. A great, oh my God moment for everybody, but this will go the 12 distance. I think Bud will do enough at the end to get the job done. I think Errol ability to get frustrated when things aren't going the way he likes might play a role in this. Just might. So I'm going Bud.
Nice.
I'm sticking with
one of these guys. You can't really argue it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a slight edge to Errol Spence only because he's a little bit younger. Yeah. Bud is 35.
Yeah.
He's getting up there. That's what people are talking about. This is a great fight, but Bud is hitting his downside in the next year or two if he already has. We'll find out. He is 35 years old.
Yeah.
But besides all that, I'm giving a slight edge to Errol Spence. I got Errol Spence by decision. Plus 125. That's what I'll be betting. But hey, man, this is 55, 45, 50, 50. Anything can happen.
No.
We're basically throwing a dart at a board and hoping it wins because this is so close. I'm going to get the edge to Errol Spence just because he's a little bit younger. He's had those car accidents, but he has fought better talent recently because he fought Ugos. So I'm going to give him the edge. I think he's a little more ready to go.
Well, I tell you what, man.
Like who knows? We're picking at straws here, man.
Well, like I said, at the end of the day, it's gonna come down, and it's so cliche, man. Both guys want this. Both guys want it bad.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even say it's gonna come down
this
to
is a legacy-defining fight for them,
right? I mean, this is more than the titles. This is more than anything. And if you listen to the last episode, everybody, you know that Cody Crowley had some interesting things to say about this fight as well. He will be at ringside for the fight, taking
maybe then one of them might call him in the ring. I'd like to see that.
Well, like I said, man, we talked about it, and he's also, he's in the air, but he mentioned something kind of interesting. He thinks that Errol just looks a little slow overall.
Could be.
overall, like just as an individual, like
Been those
as a
brutal car accidents and then had that eye thing and everything. You know, he's
that's
been
the
through a
thing.
lot.
But he's been through a lot, absolutely, right? Okay, let's
But I think about everywhere that I've heard, all the experts, all the pundits, of all picking Crawford. So it leads me to believe, like, are they missing something on Errol Spence? Is Errol Spence playing possum? Is he going to come out firing, or is Cody right? He is a bit slow. He is damaged from accident. We don't know. That's why we're going to watch Saturday.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to
Well,
be beautiful to see.
I asked him, I said, do you mean slow in the ring or just how slow? He goes, just his personality, just his movement, just everything about just his general demeanor.
I noticed that too. He's in, like his steps, his movement, it looked a
right?
little slow in the
Like,
draw.
I'm not,
Who knows?
it's like, is he really smoking the bud before the press conferences and everything? Is that slow? Like, I don't know, right? I'm just throwing it out there. Like,
I just
I'm
hope this
trying
fight
to.
sells well and a lot of people watch, because there's a little bit more hype lately for it, but it's not like there's not a buzz in the air, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. Like on some of the shows, but it's not like, oh my god, Spence Crawford. I've
Yeah,
mentioned a few times, guys are like, who?
yeah. Well, like I said, you know what? This is for us, right? This is
Yeah,
for
no,
us.
it's a
These are for the
beautiful fight.
boxing fight, right? It's a beautiful fight. So I don't really want to, you know.
I'm not really a fan of either guys. I like both guys. I don't really care who wins. I want to see a good fight. My pick to win for the show is, I think Errol will win, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad if Bud won. I like them both.
yeah. I'm indifferent, right? I mean,
Yeah, me too.
I think it's really clear where.
Most fights I have a favorite, but this one I don't
Yeah.
really.
No, I think that's the best way to kind of go. Unless you're betting on it, then you can, kind of cheer for the guy you were,
Yeah.
rooting for that way. But look, dude, ultimately it's a pick 'em.
Yes.
I'm at the point right now where the only thing that would surprise me would be a knockout by either
That would
one.
surprise me. I wouldn't. Some there's gonna be moments where both guys will get hurt against the ropes.
Well,
I'm just
okay.
hoping that if this goes to decision, we don't get the refs. The judges screwing one of these fighters out. That's where it would ruin the whole night.
Well, let's talk
And
about
if
that
you
really,
watch
really
George
quick.
Kambosos fight,
But I
he
was going to
lost to
go there
Maxie
right now.
Hughes.
No, he
And
lost.
those judges are crooked. They're horrible. They all should be fired. Maxie won the fight. And now George is calling out Lomo. No, you don't. Lomo's going to whoop you. I hope Loma doesn't take that fight.
I watched that fight. I stayed home. I changed my plans specifically to be present for to be present for that fight. And I'm going to say right now, man, hands down, I lost 45 minutes of my life.
Maxie won the fight. I thought it was 8-4.
No. It was 10-2, man. Like he carried the whole fight. He carried the whole fight. Once I heard that first scorecard 114, 114,
you knew where it was going.
I knew this was bad news, man. This was bad news. And then him, like, okay, granted, I get it. You're supposed to be confident. You're supposed to sell yourself. I mean, come on, George. Yeah, he won a couple of rounds, but I won most of that fight. No,
no way,
bro.
No way.
Right?
No, and not one person is saying George won that fight. I can't find one.
And then here, this is what I love. How the Shakir? Is his mission just to be at every single top ranked night now?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Bob's throwing him out there because he wants to get him a big fight.
He showed up there. Like, that's work, man. This kid's working hard. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like,
I hope he gets a big fight before the year's over.
I hope so too, right? And I mean, we'll touch on this really quick. Devin Haney. I mean, they extended him again, and I don't understand why they're fucking picking on him so bad. Like, you got Charlo, who hasn't defended his title in over a year, and no one's putting demands on him. Like, fuck. They're saying either you
did. Yeah.
I'm just calling it like it is, bro. Like, Charlo didn't defend for over a year. Canelo's really bad for doing this too. They pick the fights that they want to pick, and the governing bodies are like, "Oh, okay, whatever you want to do." Like, come on, man! Like, Devin Haney's done everything. He won the title away from home.
Twice in Australia for that.
Won the title away from home. Defended the title away from home. Came home and defended the title and took shit for the way the decision was handed out. No one was wrong in it. Either guy was right to win. Okay, we're not going to talk about that, but I'm just saying. So now they're saying either you have to fight Shakir or release the titles and go fight Prograis.
I hope he doesn't fight Prograis. Fight Shakir, man, or rematch Lomo.
I say drop the titles, go up to 140 and fight Prograis. That's the easier fight. That you're fine there, bro. Let it go.
And then let Shakur and Lomo go for the belt. That'd be if they fight.
I think that would be the better fight. I think that's the better fight, right? I mean, then you can even throw Tank in that group. Let Haney go.
Yeah, Tank's out of jail now. Did you see that? He let him out.
Yeah, he's happy. He's happy. All right.
Speaking of that, everybody, I haven't seen it yet, and I talked about it before the boxing podcast. I heard good things about it on Mad Dog show. A few of the fans called it. I want to watch it. It's on HBO, the Oscar De La Hoya documentary. I haven't had a chance to watch that yet, but I hope I'll get that the next week or so. Have you checked it out yet?
No, I have not. Good. I have not seen it, but I will. You know what? I think when I edit this, I'll put it on.
Oh, speaking of that, did you see the picture of De La Hoya and Bob Arum together? De La Hoya he's patched the beef up with Bob. He's like, "Thank you for helping me out. Thank you for making me champion. You're a great promoter. You're one of the best." So De La Hoya is kind of like, he dropped his beef with Dana White. He dropped it with Bob Arum. He wants to do business now. You know what I mean?
Well, he realized
this and Dana and Bob White is not a good idea for business.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing with De La Hoya. He's in a position where he's probably going to lose Ryan Garcia as his number one guy.
Yeah, he was arguing with him, fighting with him.
Well, that's the thing. So now they're talking about a potential lawsuit from Golden Boy against Ryan Garcia. I don't know what the basis of it is or whatnot, but think about it, man. I mean, why do you think he's making up with everybody? Because he's going to lose his biggest fighter, right? After that, who's the biggest?
He's lost Canelo.
Well, he's already lost Canelo. Everybody lost Canelo. Canelo's just doing Canelo, right? But after that, who's the biggest guy on Golden Boy? Zurdo? Ramirez? Well, I'm just saying, right? Like, that's the only name I can think of. And Ronnie Rios was all part of Golden Boy as well, right? But
on the lower end, but Ronnie Rios is on there.
But I mean, Zurdo's going to be your biggest name, and he already lost to Bivol.
I know.
So I can see why he's mending and patching fences wherever he's going now, man. I mean,
because he wants to start to connect the dots, make these fights where you could have a top ranked guy fight a Golden Boy guy. You know.
Well, that's the thing. That's what he has to do, right? So, okay. One thing I wanted to ask you, and let's wrap this sucker up. Who's got the better corner on Saturday night?
What's that?
Who has the better corner on Saturday night?
Ooh, that's a good question. I never thought about that one.
I'm going Derek James.
Yeah, Derek James is a good trainer, man.
I think Derek James overall, just his style, just his technique, just his approach. I love Bomac. Okay. But dude, if you listen to their press conference today,
I didn't listen to it yet. No,
it's interesting. Those two go at each other.
Go did they?
Oh yeah, it was kind of
funny. I like
funny.
that. Bill's like the fight. Good for them.
It's like Bomac saying, "You're missing it. You're missing the picture." He goes, "The only thing I'm missing are the Big Macs and the stuff that you're eating." like he was like totally.
That's hilarious.
Like I only caught the clip, so I don't know how deep it went or whatnot. But even the trainers were kind of having a go at each other here. I picked Derek James not because he's trainer of the year, but I just look at the way he works. The All Access series, just the preparation he does himself
amazing
to be a trainer, right? I mean, I respect Derek James because he kind of reminds me of Vince McMahon in a certain way, that he's willing to do the work himself to show his guy what
he does have that McMahon quality. Like, you do it, you can do it. I like that about him.
Right. And that's what I'm saying, right? Like he's just breath work, meditation, his skill ability and everything else. Especially when they come to the corners as well. If you look at the two corners and how they interact with their fighters, he's always got advice. He's always, trying to fill in the gaps for Errol or whoever he has in the corner. Where I find Bomac, amazing trainer. Again, amazing trainer.
They're both phenomenal.
But he's not one to really say much in between rounds. Now, I say that thinking also, though, but what does he need to say to Bud?
That's true. But these guys already know what most of their stuff, right?
Yeah. But you know what? When you come back to your corner, you want that reassurances sometimes. You want to be able to hear some things or to kind of what you're trying to figure out in your mind. Because, I mean, think about it. When you're in that ring, man, and you're throwing, you're thinking about 50 different things while that punch is throwing. 50 different thoughts go into making that fist and throwing it. So
speaking of great trainers, Freddie Roach is a fighter. Cabrera's on the undercard too. So you got some of the best trainers in the world.
Oh yeah, no. This
undercard
is pretty decent too. I think solid. Jesus Ramos is on here as well. You got Pitbull Cruz on this card as well. Donaire's on this card as well. So you got a couple title fights here. Pitbull Cruz. You know what I want to see? I want to see him run it back with Tank.
I don't think Tank will, but
No, no,
maybe.
no, no. But Tank should. Only reason being is Pitbull got so big off of that. I don't know any boxer who got more famous from a loss
The
than than
Pitbull.
than Pitbull has.
Yeah,
Right?
it's the way he fights his style, right?
I get it, but he fought a Tank with one hand.
That's true.
So I want to see them run that back. Just saying.
It'll be cool. I doubt it happens, but yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
100%. All right, brother man. Anything happened this week in boxing history?
Yeah, something did happen. Very good too. In
Hmm.
1991, Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker defended his lightweight championship against Paulie Diaz, and he won the fight in Norfolk, Virginia. This day, 32 years ago. 91 doesn't feel like that long ago, but it is.
Dude, Sweet Pea, underrated.
Yeah.
I highly suggest everyone go back and watch Sweet Pea's fights. Go back and watch Shane Mosley's fights too. Some of these guys were so amazing, but they were just in that time, man, where people didn't see the greatness. Felix Trinidad, another guy in my opinion, man.
Keto,
Those
yeah, I
three
like
guys,
Keto Trinidad.
Sweet Pea,
Oh, I gotta
Felix.
show you something.
Huh.
Speaking of De La Hoya and Sugar Shane Mosley,
Yeah.
this is only
Wow.
Shane Mosley autographed this. So this is a boxing magazine. I
Yeah.
framed it. It's got Mosley's autograph there on the bottom there. It's got De La
Wow.
Hoya, Hopkins, Prince Hamid,
Wow.
Roy Jones, De La Hoya, and
Yeah, you
then
should
Van Holyfield.
you should get rid of that Brett Favre crap and put it there, man. Behind you. That should
One
be
of
in the
pieces,
background.
yeah. Nice little piece. Yeah. That came out in 98, man. And I bought it maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago, a couple $100.
That's amazing. I love it. That's great. The only reason I called that guy a piece of crap is he ripped off a lot of old people.
That's what they say, but he was trying to build a volleyball court for his daughter. It was the governor that had the money. He had nothing to do with the money. It's guilty by association, maybe, but he didn't get any money out of it. So they're saying he was in on it, but the guy's so rich, he doesn't need a couple hundred G's.
No, I know, but it's just the principle behind it, right?
Yeah.
I think. All right, Chance Michaels. Good to have you back, bro. I missed you, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad to be back.
All right, good. We're back into the flow of things.
Oh, you can put up you don't got your glove up yet.
My glove is right there behind you. It's on the drum kit.
I didn't even see that there because you're blocking. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, hold on. Give me one.
Show that. It's a nice piece.
It is a beautiful piece. I wonder if David's going to be there this weekend. So, guys, when we went down to Seattle, I picked up this autographed glove signed by David Benavides. Just it's a beautiful piece. Yeah. Hey, actually, right now, so if anyone out there is a graphic designer looking for something to do, go to David Benavides' Instagram page, and there you'll find a post where he's calling out all graphic artists for a new logo and new designs. So if you
I might have to throw out the Mennonite Mike doesn't know who he is, but I might have to say, Mike, make a design for this guy. You never know. You are a professional. See what he can do.
Yeah, no, 100%. I've actually put it out to 2 or 3 graphic designers that I know as well here in Vancouver. So, let's see if we can get them to do it for us and work with us, and we can submit it on behalf of Samp&Chance. And
that's cool.
Let's see.
I didn't know I didn't see that he posted that.
Yeah. August.
He's giving everybody a chance.
Hey, man, why not? August 5th is the deadline, and it's also smart, right? I mean, you're going to get a lot of different creative people and different ideas and thoughts and stuff. So you're going to get some hippie graphic designer. You're going to get a combat graphic designer. So it's going to be kind of cool to see, right? It's going to be really cool to see.
A lot of people think the Benavides brothers are nice guys. They're cocky. They're arrogant. And maybe sometimes on camera they are, but they are first class from the dad to everybody. Great people.
Considering what all these guys do for a living, if you're not a bit arrogant and if you're not a bit cocky, then there's something wrong, I say. You have to be, right? The greats know when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what separates them all, in my opinion. Guys like David Benavides, Jose Benavides Sr. and Jr., the coach, as you like to call him, Bernard, that whole crew down there, nothing but first class. Treated us like family. I mean, if we stuck around longer, we probably would have had dinner with them. I don't know, but I just say,
they didn't care. We stayed 3 hours, or we could have stayed longer.
Yes, we could have gone and probably hung out with them longer if we wanted to, right? I just know that, You get that
You
energy.
can feel the vibe and how they're
the
talking
vibe,
about
the
it.
energy, the love, the respect.
Even
right?
Senior came and gave me a little jab in the
Yeah,
gut there. They're having fun, right?
They're having fun, and that's what it's all about, man. All right, Chance, I tell you what, let's wrap this puppy up. Let's get this thing to air. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in.
Oh yeah, the pay-per-view people, you're gonna buy the fight. It does sound like a lot of money, $89.95, but you're getting a lot of good fights, and this could be maybe better than Haney Lomachenko, maybe fight of the year. We'll find out, but definitely go to the bar, order the fights, watch it. It's going to be a beauty.
Yeah. Straight up, I'm gonna call this a technical fight with moments of brawling. So anyone looking for a brawl, don't. This is going to be a chess match at the highest fucking level.
Oh, speaking of that, I got to bring this up. Amir Khan is saying he's going to be fighting Manny Pacquiao at some point this year. Pacquiao's got that fight in Thailand against the kickboxer guy, but Amir Khan's saying we're working out details and I'm going to fight Manny in England, so we'll see what happens.
Let's see what he does, man. Let's see what he does with the kickboxer. Apparently, that guy's putting on shoes for the first time in his career. The kickboxer guy.
Yeah,
so that's happening in January, right?
January 24th in Thailand.
Wow, maybe
weird stipulation though, because in between the rounds, a 2-minute break. Not a 1 minute, it's gonna be 2 minutes.
Well, they're both kind of
I don't know. Pacquiao's doing it for fun, but I think he's gonna fight Amir Khan. He wants to have a pro fight. We'll see what happens.
Well, let's see what he does. Let's see how he walks out of this one. But I tell you what, let's walk out of this one and let's walk into this weekend. And guys, wow, I'm excited. Chance is excited. I can't wait. I cannot wait, man. This is gonna wow. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. So I am Bobby Sampson, and I'm joined with my brother in arms, Mr. Chance Michaels.
And in the words of the great AC/DC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
We do salute you. And in the infamous words of one Ed Whalen, in the meantime and in between time, that's it for Samp&Chance. Everybody, have a great rest of the week, and please be safe over the weekend. The weather is going to be good. Fireworks if you're in Vancouver, but the rest of us will be at home watching this fight. Samp&Chance are out.